pastels for spring. Groundbreaking. Maybe this is a controversial opinion, but I feel like if you're always following trends, you don't really have a sense of personal style. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin if you're new here, and today's video I am very excited to film. I'm sure you can already tell what it is from the title, but it is a spring 2021 trend video. And before I continue, if you are new here, I make fashion, lifestyle, beauty, hopefully one day travel videos. So if you like this video, please be sure to subscribe down below. It would mean the absolute world to me. I am trying to make it to 500 subscribers. Now, before most of my trend videos, I like to put a little disclaimer in there that you do not by any means have to follow trends to look good. I personally don't. I feel like it is kind of a waste of time and money, and I also, maybe this is a controversial opinion, but I feel like if you're always following trends, you don't really have a sense of personal style. 2020 was a crazy year, but that also sort of meant that the trends that did occur in 2020 are still in style now. Trends have slowed down a lot, which I personally am very happy about, because you know, I don't miss the days of constantly feeling like by the time I had a trend in my wardrobe, it was already out of style. It felt like a waste of time, a waste of money, and I just didn't like that feeling of like, great, now what do I do with this? I was influenced to buy it and I don't really like it that much anyway. So because of a lot of various reasons, including, you know, budgetary constraints from brands and much slower supply chains and stuff like that, and the inability for teams on the fashion houses to sort of work together as they used to, trends, like I said, have slowed down a lot. And I also wanted to say that I get my trend research from various fashion publications, and I also am able to spot trends pretty quickly on various social media platforms, which I am an active user of. So the first sort of aesthetic that I noticed in the spring 2021 trends is sort of a old world romanticism type of aesthetic. And I'm gonna try my best not to say aesthetic like a ton of times throughout this video, but I digress. And when I say old world romanticism, I know that's quite general, but to be honest, I've noticed that the trends that people are pulling from sort of years long gone range from like a 500-year time period. So like what I've noticed has been trends that were big even all the way back to the Renaissance, probably up until like the early 1800s. And if you're like, early 1800s, why does that sound so familiar? It's because of the popularity of the Netflix show Bridgerton, which I myself am a huge fan of. And I do want to say, I think this trend did become exceptionally popular because of Bridgerton, but I also see it as sort of a pivot from the cottagecore trend that was huge last year. And if you're not familiar with cottagecore, basically it was a sort of, I want to say, peasant style of dress. It was like linen dresses with like toile de jouy, I'll put the spelling right here, prints on them. Think like, you know, French countryside, English countryside, you know, tote bags and woven baskets and, you know, very farmers market vibes. I feel like we took the cottagecore trend of 2020 and we have sort of glamorized it, and that's how we got to this sort of more romantic version, more glamorous version of cottagecore that is this trend. If you haven't watched Bridgerton yet and you are really big into fashion and costume design, I will say that it's not necessarily historically accurate at all. I'm not an expert on it, but there are plenty of videos on YouTube dissecting the historical accuracy of Bridgerton's costuming. But I noticed ever since Bridgerton came out, it was like an explosion of trends or things that I could have spotted while watching Bridgerton. And I've noticed there are a lot of little sub-trends that I feel like are all interconnected under this bigger trend of, I just can't think of a better way of saying it other than old world romanticism. I am sorry. So some of these trends include square necklines, which I actually do have an example of here. This is a puff dress from Selkie. I actually own 3 of these puff dresses now, and I will say the Selkie puff dress, I believe, has been out like for a little while now. Like, it was definitely, I first started seeing it on social media pre-Bridgerton, so I'm not saying that this dress was inspired by the Bridgerton trend, but it is just a very, I believe the, Jeez. But I believe that the reason why these dresses have become so popular as of late, I've seen them all across social media, is because they really do fit into the current zeitgeist of the times, you know, Bridgerton related things. So the square neckline, it's hard to tell here because it is really giving me problems staying on the hanger, but this dress does go straight across the chest, and I have taken a few photos in it on my Instagram, so go ahead and check out my Instagram if you haven't already and you really want to see these trends styled, because I do have my own interpretation of all of them. But yes, this dress for sure, that square neckline is one example. Some other details that I've seen that I don't have examples of, but I will put examples of on the screen, include jacquard prints. Again, I hope I'm saying that correctly. My French pronunciation is not the best. So jacquard, I've seen oversized bows, I've seen frills and ruffles, and more like I said, romantic, glamorous detailing. Think like the early 2000s movie, the Marie Antoinette movie, think like that, you know? I mean, that is a modern interpretation of the time period in which those events actually happened, so that is a great source of inspiration if you've binged Bridgerton and you need some more fashion inspiration along that same time frame. I've also seen a lot of headbands, which are sort of dating a little bit more back to like a modern interpretation of like Anne Boleyn era headpieces, and also empire waistlines. This actually is also an empire waistline dress, so win-win there, two trends in one dress. But if you did watch Bridgerton, you'll know there was a lot of the square necklines, empire waist, and I realized that I'm listing off a lot of things here. This is definitely the biggest trend out of all the ones that I have picked out. One of the trends, sub-trends of this that I've seen the most is sort of corset style, oh, it's backwards, corset style tops, whether that means like actual corsets, like I know a lot of celebrities have been pictured recently in vintage Vivienne Westwood corsets, and I'll get a little bit more into Vivienne Westwood in a second, but you know, tops with boning, and there's a lot of different interpretations of this. It doesn't have to be like a full-blown blouse. I've seen a lot of thrifted vintage corsets on Instagram where it's like just the waist piece of the corset. I really think that we're gonna see vintage Vivienne Westwood come back a lot this year, because it does tick a lot of the boxes as far as referencing more 1800s and earlier styles. So I'll put some pictures up here again of Vivienne Westwood corsets, and she did a lot of like more extreme interpretations of that time period, like she had like bustles, and that leads me very nicely into my next trend, which is pearls. And I'm not gonna lie, I haven't seen a lot of like official fashion publications talking about pearls as a trend for spring 2021, but it's just something I've noticed a lot on social media. You've probably seen it if you're putting it together right now, pearls and Vivienne Westwood. The Vivienne Westwood pearl choker has been all over TikTok lately, all over Instagram, and I understand why, because it feels like a very, very easy to acquire piece of the Vivienne Westwood brand, which again, I really do think is tying in nicely with all of these other spring 2021 trends, and like really, I do believe that Vivienne Westwood is gonna be the 2021 sort of designer, especially of the first half of 2021. And so the pieces that I have here to talk about the pearl trend myself is this Topshop pearl bag that I purchased last year. It's not the most practical bag in the world, but there is also the Shrimps pearl bag, which I'll put a photo of here. I have been seeing a lot of like social media bag collector type girls that I follow using their Shrimps pearl bags a lot, and I think that's just because it's still a designer bag in my opinion, but it is a lot lower on the price scale. It's like under $1,000, and so that's probably just a reflection of not wanting to splash out with the logos in 2020. So I really think that that bag will be seeing a lot more of it this year. I also think that pearl hair accessories are going to be making a comeback. Here I have two pearl hair barrettes that I believe I picked up from Target like 2 years ago or something. I don't know if you remember that like period of time, like a year or two ago, when like really decking out your hair with hair accessories and barrettes and stuff like that was really in. That's when I bought these, and I think that pearl hair accessories are going to be another sort of romantic, easy way to incorporate pearls into your look. I've also seen this And Other Stories cardigan with fake pearls all across it, so I don't believe it's just limited to accessories. I've seen pearls as like embellishment on clothing. I really think that it is going to be a big trend for spring 2021. All right, the third trend, I'm sure you have guessed it already, so I'm going to be very brief about it, but it is pastels. And you're probably like, pastels for spring? groundbreaking. But seriously, pastels were a big trend in 2020, and I think they're just gonna be even more popular in 2021 for a few reasons. One, we've been inside, we haven't been wearing our clothes. Like, I've seen so many social media girls express the sentiment that they wanna, once they're out of the house, they want to splash out and wear their colors and have fun with fashion again, because it felt like, you know, having fun with fashion was sort of taken away from us in 2020. So pastels are a very lovely way to do that in the spring. So the two pieces I have to show you are this sort of very, very long, obviously, button down that I picked up on sale last year. Still got the tag on because I couldn't wear it last year. It's from L'Académie. From Revolve, and it's very interesting. The back is shorter than the front. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see that. I'll put photos up of how they styled it on the website, but it is a top that you can style in multiple ways, and it's got this sort of watercolor looking print on it. It reminds me of like Monet's water lilies. And this one I have already showed you in my Valentine's Day lookbook video. It is a very fuzzy nasty gal cardigan with actually pearlescent buttons. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see that, but that just sort of is tying into the pearlescent trend, if you will. And pastels for spring, I don't know what else there is to say. It's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, now we are straying away from the Bridgerton influence, but I'm still keeping these next 4 trends into my first trend category because I believe that they all tie in very nicely together, even though they're not necessarily inspired directly from you know, the 1500s, the 1800s, Bridgerton, all that good stuff. And my first out of those trends is actually loafers and Mary Janes. There's been like the Prada ones that have been very popular as of late. I've seen that all over Instagram. I have my Gucci loafers here, but to me, loafers and Mary Janes both are sort of a continuation of the schoolgirl preppy style that we saw a lot in the fall of 2020. And so I don't personally own a pair of Mary Janes. I do have my eye on a pair that I saw on Instagram, but I have a pair somewhat similar. I realize that these are not Mary Janes. I thrifted these, I don't know when. They have like a little patent leather cap toe and a buckle around the ankle. And I know that Mary Janes have the strap that goes over the toe, and then it wouldn't have like the exposed side of the foot. But to me, this is a similar vibe to a Mary Jane, so I'm not gonna go ahead and splash out on a more expensive pair until I prove to myself that I wear these enough to justify that sort of purchase. But I do feel that Mary Janes and loafers are a way to sort of anchor a more frou-frou, pastel, feminine, girly outfit, especially if they're in a black. So I do think that these tie in nicely with the other trends that I'm discussing. My next trend is tying into the pastel theme, and it is oversized, colorful suits. And I myself am not an oversized suits wearer because I am only 5'4", and I do find that they sort of swallow me, but I do have 2 colorful suits that, again, I purchased early 2020 on sale, hoping to wear them, and then the pandemic hit. So the first suit that I have is this blue Zara one, and it kind of looks like a bellboy jacket, which I'm really into. I don't want all of my suits to have the same, you know, details and lapels and all of that. So it is very interesting style, but it's hard to tell. It is a cropped style on both the sleeves and the jacket, which on me means that it'll probably fit my torso perfectly. And the pants, they're not that much to look at. I'm not gonna take these off the hanger for the sake of ease for myself, but they do not have any belt loops, which is an interesting detail, but they are also a cropped style, which means on me they will hit me right above the shoe. But to me, this is a great interpretation of a colored suit, and I do think that you should get a style like this at a, what did the Europeans call it? A high street store? I don't want to call it a fast fashion store. That makes me feel like, but that's what Zara is. But if you are looking to get a colorful suit, I would basically, what I'm trying to say is I would not invest in one. So that's what I did. I chose not to invest in these 2 suits because I want to make sure that it's something I get wear out of. And my next one is a pretty little thing suit in this bubblegum pink. And this is sort of the opposite of that suit that I showed you. It is very long, and I did try this on and honestly looked pretty good on me. It's interesting, the longer silhouette, because it is purposely a much longer suit jacket, it actually looks fine. Like, I feel like for me, if there's a suit on a website, if it's as long as it's tailored, if it's very, very long, it actually still works, or if it's supposed to be cropped, it works. It's the suits that are like on a 5'10" model and it's like a regular standard suit that do not look good on me. But anyway, matching pants here. Again, no belt loops. Interesting choice. I did decide to go with Pretty Little Thing for this suit because, you know, will I be wearing a bubblegum pink suit a lot? To be determined. And the next trend that I have, I only have one piece for, and that is sort of light wash mom fitting jeans, which to me means more straight leg, tighter in the waist, and these are from Revice denim, and I'm not sure how obvious it is. They're not buttoned up, but the waistline of the denim has like a folded over effect, which I don't think is like really a trend right now. I mean, it's cute, but it's interesting because I've seen all over various social media platforms and fashion websites that the low-rise jeans are going to come back because all of the other early 2000s trends have come back, and I keep seeing people saying that, but I'm not seeing anyone actually wear low-rise jeans unless you're like Bella Hadid or like an actual supermodel, because let's be honest, the rest of us do not want to wear low-rise jeans. So even though technically low-rise jeans, everyone's saying they're a trend, personally myself, I have been seeing so many girls still rocking their light wash mom jean, you know, tighter in the waist, baggier in the legs jeans, and I think they look so good, and I think they just pair so nicely with this spring color palette. And the last of the trends that are something that I will be participating in is the Prada Nylon trend. And I know this is not super easily accessible to a lot of people, but if you do have the means to buy a Prada Nylon piece and you've been thinking about it, I really do think you should be buying that sooner rather than later, because Prada Nylon was probably one of the most prominent trends of 2020 because, again, people didn't want to splash out on their leather goods and their logos because it just felt kind of overly flashy in a time when a lot of people were deeply economically impacted by the pandemic. So that's, I believe, why Prada Nylon became so big. I personally bought a Prada Nylon bag because it is on the lower end of the price spectrum as far as designer goods are concerned, and it's actually my first designer bag. So if you haven't seen my Prada unboxing video, please go ahead and watch it. I give a little review of the bag, and if you are interested in a Prada Nylon piece, like I said, definitely get it this year because I truly believe that the trend is only starting out. So in 2020, we saw a lot more of the black, excuse me as I untangle it, of the black Prada Nylon pieces. And I still love this. I love the juxtaposition of a black accessory with a pastel piece. So I'll probably be pairing this, wait for it, with these shoes. This is a very flattering angle. But I think that these two pieces together with a beautiful pastel blouse, maybe with some light wash jeans or a pastel dress, is a very fun spring style. But back to the Prada Nylon trend. I don't want to just be holding this up forever, so I'm gonna put it back. But I have been seeing an increase in Prada Nylon pieces that are not black. I've been seeing them a lot more in pink, in white, in light blue. So I do believe that the Prada Nylon trend, although it is going to be continuing into spring of 2021 and probably through the rest of 2021, while we are in spring, I believe that the pastel colors will be a lot more popular, and that's honestly what I've been seeing more of on social media, not so much the black pieces. For me, I'm not going to splash out on a pink nylon bag. I am still so happy with and so in love with my black bag, and I do not regret it for a second. But just for your information, the pink, the blue, and the white I have been seeing a lot more of. And that brings me to the end of this video. If you did find this video helpful and you'd be interested in seeing me again or hearing about fashion, lifestyle, beauty, travel, all that good stuff, and me exploring my new home in Southern California, please hit the subscribe button down below. If you liked this video, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up. It helps a lot. When you give me a thumbs up, it helps my content be seen by a lot of other different people. And last but not least, again, if you would like to see me styling these pieces, styling these trends over on my Instagram, please go and follow me over on my Instagram. I am very, very into color coordinating my feed and like sort of coming up with a theme and following it, and I'm definitely going to be doing pastels for spring, groundbreaking, but I'm very, very excited. I've been planning content very intensely for my Instagram, so please go ahead and check it out. And that is all I have. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. I will see you in my next video on Monday. Bye!